Okay, let's start with book 1 of Succulents. This is by Lego Botanical Collection. I think this is set number 10309. And we're going to take a look at the book here. It's probably, there's Succulent for everyone. Succulent. It's probably obviously the creator of this. You know, when I do reviews, I always take a look at everything here. And they obviously show us how to use the brick separator in this. But the one thing you noticed about this manual, it's all dark colored. This is something you'd probably see in Technic or Star Wars, but for something like this, I don't know what they were thinking on using a dark colored manual. So I don't know what the deal of that is. So let's see here. Kind of get that repositioned for you and for myself as well, because I don't want to reach all the way over there. Now, one of the things I always do when I do my reviews is I always look and see how easy it is to build. When I've been writing my own manuals, I've been doing this too, setting a part down here. It's kind of wasting a step if you do that. And I think I'm going to keep each bag or each group, maybe each manual in its own video, just for my own reference and for your entertainment. Some of you have told me on my main channel you actually like these, you know, like it's more like ASMR. You get to sit back and just listen. Some people want to hear me talk. I don't know, but that's just how it is. I hope I don't have to build like 5 of these. You know, let me check here. Kind of brings back nightmares of the Tower Bridge and some other sets where you're like, oh, let's make sure here. Alright, so we're safe. It only tells us to build 1. Okay. Alright, so, you know, with this is my very first set that I have been given for review. So I kind of want to really document the journeys that I go through doing these. Some people do the ASMR, like no talking videos, which is very hard for me. Especially with, you have, it's hard to explain on here, and I don't want to get into all the technical stuff, but sometimes I have to hear myself think in order for me to understand it. So, for these being black, this is something you'd see more in an architecture set. But for myself, this should have been a different color. Obviously, if you look here, I see a lot of greens. I see a lot of green, yellow, green, and black. This could have been blue. This could have been a nice dark red, or a bright red would have been nice. Because it's just too green, in my opinion. I mean, green is good, but it's just too much for the build. So, and when Lego contacted me and asked if, you know, if I'd be interested, you know, I'm like, sure. I didn't know what the sets were at the time. They kind of don't really tell you much of anything. I guess it's like a surprise, and pretty much it is what it is. And you know, Lego is Lego at that point. And this set is not really my style of, or my cup of tea of building here. You know, I'm mostly into city, and you know, I said, when they said, oh, we're going to send you Creator Expert, I was like, cool, you know, I was hoping to get one of the big modulars or something, but I think that, because I'm in the lower tier of the Ambassador Network, you know, I'm just starting out, so I don't think they're going to send me the big stuff yet. Which is fine by me, because, you know, we all got to start somewhere. And so far the build's okay, you know. This is something you probably want to do if you got some spare time. Maybe sort the parts out and such like that. Alrighty. Okay, let's see here. So we take the leaf pieces, make 4 of those, and stick them in the corners. Okay, well, we got to put studs on the bottom. These are really a nice piece to have too, as the leaf pieces. Does it say what color? It shows brittle brown. Also be careful too when you put the stuff together. It may tell you to use a hollow stud. I've learned my lesson with Minecraft, and you know, why don't they just put hollow studs in all the builds, because sometimes you don't want that hole in your stud. Am I putting that in the right way? No, it's actually supposed to go like this to fill in the corners. So there you go. I just put that in backwards. Alright. And I think I just forgot to do something. I'm going to have to probably do it real quick here. When I do my thumbnails, it just depends on what the build is. And one thing I forgot to do was take a picture of the parts with this set. Like the parts laid out on the table to show what you get. I'll have to think of a way of doing those. A lot of people don't watch the parts videos, which is kind of sad, because there's some hidden gems in these sets. You know, there's some really good parts that you could use for something, you know. And we'll shove a stick in there. So it shows it as orange, but that's the color they want me to use, so that's the only thing I have. And well, glad it came with a brick separator, and you shove that in there, and then we need to find this bright orange round brick, shove that down in there. So when I get done with this one section here, I'm going to have to stop the video and take a thumbnail. I'll just leave this portion out, or just bury it under parts. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I may just take and just dump a few of the pieces out on the table. I don't like to mix up the bags. So there's a yellow stud flower if you're looking for those. And someday I need to get me a chair or something, like a seat, to do these while I'm on here. I'm practically standing up building tutorials. And now I'm standing on my knees, which is not really good. But kind of want to see what this flower looks like when it's done. And, oh, and by the way, doing these as well, I'm on a time limit. You know, with my sets that I buy, they're pretty much, when I buy them, most of the time they're just sitting in a closet for a few years, and that's where they're at. I don't really do anything with them until like later on. Okay. And you know, with my own personal stuff I can take my time, but when Lego sends the stuff, you can't. Wait a minute, are these ridge tiles? Wait. Look at this, guys and gals. These parts do exist. Let me put this on something here. What does that even look like? Can we actually do that now? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, I thought maybe these were like a ridge tile or something. So these are not true ridge tiles. I just wanted to see, because that's the only thing missing in the 25-degree slope roof is those. Oh, wait a minute. So we got to do this. I'm not even following the instructions. So we got to make 4 of these. So let me just go ahead and make these 4 real quick here and do my thumbnail. Should have done the thumbnail for this too, but maybe I'll just do the picture of it and stuff. And I can't release any of these videos until the embargo date has been lifted. What that means is that I can't even do anything. Like when I get this done, it'll probably sit in archive for about a month. Because even I have to follow rules. And that's just only fair. So by the time you're watching this, I'll be watching it with you too. I know some people have asked me about how does the ambassador network work, and I'm still learning myself. So that's just how it is. Honestly, just so far looking at this build, like I said, this is not something normally I wouldn't buy this for myself. Just walk out to the store and buy this. But honestly, though, so far this would be a great little build for to kill some time. This is a good little time waster project. Is that supposed to be crooked? It is. Okay, so I'm making sure I'm doing it right. I'm always checking the instructions. So we just did part of this here and put that in there. It's what it told me to do, set one of these in there. And that's it. We got one flower thing done. So this is the next one. So one of the things I always do when I film stuff like this, even when I do tutorials, is I always stop the camera. Because sometimes the memory card can get corrupted. I've been having a bunch of buffeting errors lately. I had an old memory card that crapped out. So let me stop this, take a picture of a thumbnail for my main video, and we'll be back to resume this. It'll be in the same video, so don't worry. Okay, I'm back. Took a picture of my thumbnail. Now we can continue. Put that off to the side there. And let's start. I need to get me more of an indirect light for these. I know my nephew's got a little portable floodlight I'd like to try out one day. It shines light on the ceiling. It's like a couple 100 watt. It'd be a lot better than having a regular lamp that faces down. Move that cord out of the way. Elbow. Wow, I'm just being a klutz today, huh? So, I always got questions asked, how did you get into the LAN, And honestly, it was something I was never expecting. I signed up because we had a community, still do have that community, but it wasn't what I expected. I was signing up just merely to introduce our community to the Ambassador Network, and, well, they were interested only in my work. And so that's how it was. Basically, 'cause I did small MOCs. I don't really consider my stuff small. I consider it as large MOCs, but that's what they did. And what I was told when I was getting my interview, that a lot of the MOC builders literally are, these guys are hardcore MOC builders. I mean, they literally drop, what I was told, about $20,000 or so into a single build. Yeah. That's probably more than what I have in my whole collection. I don't really, drop a whole lot because I collect throughout the years. I don't even know exactly, what it costs to make one of my MOCs. A lot of the stuff I pieced together, like the McDonald's that I did, that was, I think I spent about $12 to $15 on just parts for that. I mean, it was just because I had stuff in my inventory before, so I didn't spend about that much to do that. And like the 1960s home, I spent probably about $10 in just slopes to finish up the roof. So it just depends really on, how fast you want to build up your collection. Alright, so we got to do this here. We only build one. Okay, that's good. So here's where it's kind of confusing. So I'm assuming this stud goes here. So yeah, that's what it does. And always check it out. Always look a few steps ahead when you're building things. Like they call this a creator expert set. Now I'm not sure why they call these expert sets, unless maybe it's due to small pieces, or you just got to be patient to put the stuff together. Is that a hollow stud? Yes, it is. And yeah, and it's been one of those early mornings again that I'm putting this together. I do get a question asked from time to time, why do you do them so early in the morning? Well, it is a good, it's a good palate cleanser before you start work. You know, so like some people do Lego after work. I mostly do it before, because I'll be in front of a computer most of the day, and that gets kind of daunting after a while. And to come home and to physically touch something instead of just pushing keys and watching it appear on a screen, you know, that gets it gets exhausting after a while. Okay, so that's why I prefer to do Lego. It's a nice hobby to get into. It's also getting expensive. A set like this is probably about $50 to $60. They don't really tell us what they retail for or what their intent is. We also have press releases too that we have to go through, you know. And also, when you go through the Ambassador Network and you're onboarded, you actually have to, excuse me, you have to go through a training. So they actually have to train you. And they give you what you can and can't do. Like, you know, like this. I can't, when I'm filming this right now, I won't, I can't release this video until the embargo date has lifted. So I can't just be like, oh, you know, hey, look what I got here. I can't just do that. I really am not here to break any rules. I'm trying not to yawn. Maybe that's a sign, right? Stick that right down in there. So that's, so far this is not looking pretty, and we got a sub step. As we set that off to the side, and we'll do that. Yeah, but a lot of people like hearing my voice for some reason. I mean, I sound like Kermit the Frog, I guess, huh? But I get that a lot. And at first I never understood it until I listened to myself. I'm like, holy smokes, I do sound like Kermit the Frog. Alright, so now looking at the sand green kind of reminds me of some of the colors you'd see in a forest. And I'm trying so hard here not to yawn in your ear. But yeah, this is something you'd use, like if you're making a nice spruce tree, this color does appear a few times in nature. Also, I'm kind of like a nature guy too. I like nature. I like going in the outdoors, camping, backcountry stuff. You know, when I'm in the backcountry, or away from a computer, I should say, it is kind of like a mind cleanser. Just like some people do Lego a lot. They do Lego to cleanse their mind. For me, I'm trying to find one of these in black here. That's okay, I'm going to have to start pulling out all the black and put it on one side here because I'm kind of lost. You know, when I'm out in nature, though, my mind will start defrosting and new ideas will come flowing through. Now, with the pandemic and stuff going on and a bunch of other family-related issues, I haven't got to do that in like 3 years. Yeah, it gets kind of boring after a while sitting around and not really doing much of anything anymore, but that's just how it is. Okay, so this goes on the top here. I don't know what this would be though. And you know what's sad is I gotta get ready for work here in a bit, so I gotta get going. It's one of those stay-at-home days too. Even though if the pandemic is pretty much, you know, I've already had my shots and stuff, so I'm not worried about it. But for me though, I really want to just kind of chill out, and I think that's what you put in there. I hope I don't have to build like 1,000 of these. This is pretty flimsy too. Look how soft this is. So you may want to hold that in like that. Shove that in there. So, and then this sits in here. Like that. I'm sure there's more to it, is there? Indeed there is. So, yeah, take these, this plus this equals that. Okay, so it goes like this, and we have to make 3 of these. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to stick my finger in here and just hold that in there. This is pretty soft, rubbery plastic. So I don't want to flex this too much here. And this doesn't really show you where they go. I try to match the picture up as much as I can. So let's mush this down here. Looks like a plant that we'd see in the desert here. I got some of these big ones here. I don't think we're ready for those yet. So indeed, this isn't I wouldn't say this is an expert set, just more like you just take your time type set. Take your time. Read the instructions very slow. Just take your time. Anybody can put this stuff together, you know. It's you know, anybody can put the stuff together, and I think it's all on the top limbs here. I couldn't see the picture behind this side, but I'm assuming that's where it goes. I'll show you here in a second. I put that in, there we go. The reason why I'm saying that is you really can't see that right there. I think this goes here on that. I think we're working on the top tier first. Of course, it's not like I glued it together, so I can just take that apart and put that back there, huh? Snap that right where it's supposed to be. And then we make 3 more of them and stick those in again. So I don't think it matters. If you like these type of videos, let me know. I know a lot of people don't really watch the thought process behind a lot of the stuff. I've been getting requests for thought processes in my mock building, and I'm like, well, it depends on the build. The thought process is always different too. You know, I mean, I build something one way, and then I can come back in like 3 years later, build the same exact project and just a different method. And then that's pretty much what it is. You know, I don't really... it's hard to explain exactly. So, honestly, so far, I'm not really liking this one here at all. This one just seems kind of sloppy. Trying to find the last holder and the rubbery thing. When I do the next one of these, I'm going to go ahead and pre-sort out parts by color. There it is. Because it does get a little time wasting after a while putting this together here. Snap that right in there. I mean, so far this would be a good project to build, like during the summertime, if it's too hot to go outside, that kind of thing. And the larger ones go here. Oh, there they are. So you got to stick that on like that. Okay. Yeah. Let me stand up here. I got to stretch my legs. I can only sit down for so long, and then it's like time to get up. This almost looks like a little yucca plant. This thing freely spins around at the bottom, so you put those on there. That's pretty much what it is. I'm sure you can go like that too, and stick those on there. So yeah, this set here is really not really my style of build. You know, I really can't visualize anything with this. You know, that's the whole point about doing the thought processes. I got billions of those from all the sets that I have been collecting over the years. Alright, so far so good. There we go. Is that it? Please say so. Okay, we said so. So this, here's what it looks like here compared to what I made. Honestly, it looks like a little Aloe plant. I'm not really filling this one here. Maybe if we readjust some stuff and fluff it up. Put that over there. Let's start the last one. The last one is here. And see, I've done this here. I start one on one side and do it like that on the other side. Now, I'm not a big fan of this dark red on this gray, so, and when I do the reviews, I mean, I'm going hardcore in this stuff now. A lot of people just talk about their feelings about the build, well, including other things too. You know, like, you know, the build quality, you know, like so far, these are pretty sturdy. They're not breaking or falling apart or anything like that. That's the thing I'm looking at. You know, is it easy to assemble? Is it hard to read? You know, most part the instructions are pretty easy to follow. Some things seem a bit obscure, so you have to kind of go ahead a few pages to do that. Okay. And you know, also I used to do these live too on YouTube. And I can't do, and obviously I can't do this live anyways because this is a review set. You know, we have an embargo order, a gag. I call it a gag order too. That's what it is. can't do anything until the release date. So it's like when they say, okay, you can talk about it, you can release it. Once it's public, you can start doing this stuff. And that's when I'll post all the stuff and talk about it. So, for right now, I'm under a gag order. Well, by the time you watch this, I'm not. But so, yeah, these little pieces here, these could have been better if they were in different colors. I think they did it in black to kind of, well, I put that in the wrong spot. I think they did it in black is to make the colors pop out a bit more. But obviously, or honestly, it obviously makes the build very dark and gloomy. And that's kind of a sad thing though. And there we go. Okay, we don't have a lot left to do. We're getting close to the end here, huh? Okay, so this, and we have two of these here. It'd be nice if they made these solid. Looks like a little mini ladder. You can use this probably for a model train or something. Alright. And we need... and trying to find that plate thing here, that bearing plate. I really do need to get a seat in here. Or something to sit on. Then there's the camera. I've been thinking about putting a bar up here so when I do the builds, the camera's facing straight down. So I've been kind of toying around the idea of actually doing that. You know. I hope that reddish brown doesn't break. No. So it sits like that, I believe. Okay. And we set that down inside there on top of the turntable. I've seen these in 4x4, never a 2x2. Now I've seen them in person. Let's make sure here. Does that actually fit crooked? It does, but with the studs there, let me make sure. I may have done something wrong too. Absolutely not. So I think you just set it down in there. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the only way it fits. It's in there. That's all that matters, is it's in there. Now here's something I've been doing in my own manuals too. Hold on, I'll show you. I've been doing this, double stacking. It speeds up the build process too, so you don't have to. I don't want to do like step 1, put a part, and step 2 another part, step 3 another part, because it gets kind of redundant and boring, and you don't want to do that. So I guess this is meant to offset. Indeed it does. We have to offset it here. That's pretty cool. And you know, this kind of gives you inspiration for some of your builds as well. Sometimes you have to see how other people build things. Like when I build my spruce trees, these were always lined up like this. Well, why don't I just do that and offset things? So that's something I've learned right there. I learned something new, you know. You're never too old to learn something new. Okay. Well, so far so good. Alrighty, and that just sits right on the top there, huh? On top of the angle plates. It's not even, it's like a leaning tower of Pisa. Alright. Oh, we got to put the ice cream scoop on top of the brick with 4 studs. And the spring green leaf pieces on. Sometimes I have to stop to look at the camera. I'm kind of perpendicular to it, so I really can't see the viewfinder. I actually have to stop and look over to see, you know, make sure that it's still in the frame. It's a pretty interesting color scheme right there. It's almost like somebody had put on your cake. Alright, so that sits in the middle. And with the extra rods and stuff in here, these are pretty sturdy. Well, maybe not. That just fell right apart, huh? That's, well, we found a weak spot here. I was saying, oh, this is pretty sturdy. I guess there's always one in the bunch. And I got to make 8 of those. But I'm almost at the end of the manual too, so you basically set these in here like this, and you set the tooth in on the bottom. Like that. Does it matter what tier? Yes it does. It needs to be on the top tier. So we'll start setting those on there. I'm just going to build them as I go. And just let me know, though, do you like these style of videos? You know, just, I know somebody's probably fallen asleep to these now. You know, I had an ex-friend that people would say they'd listen to my stuff to fall asleep to, and you know, does it, you know, oh, don't get offended, you know, I just listen to your voice because it sounds so soothing, and I'm like, oh, cool. you know, and it doesn't bother me now when people explain to me, because when I'm at night I will listen to something and it just depends on the person. I'll actually doze off to them. I'm like, oh, so it is that ASMR thing, huh? A lot of stuff I listen to is tech stuff. So ASMR tech videos are always cool to listen to. Or troubleshooting videos, because those usually be about an hour or two long. So you just set, you know, like I have an iPad that I set on the little nightstand by my bed, and I just kind of sit there and listen. Some nights I'll pull up like a scenic video to listen to, either one of my own or someone else's video. And sometimes now, well, now more and more with the live stuff going on YouTube, you can pull up a webcam that has sound and you can just doze off to it, like some people are like they'll just point a camera out their window and just listen to the waves crash. And it has been a long time since I've been at the beach and really just vacationed. So sometimes I'll pull up an ocean and just listen to the waves crash. That kind of thing. Well, I thought this was going to be close to being done, but just like putting together one of my spruce trees, you got to piece it all together. When I do the tutorials, they go fast because I filter all that stuff out. You know, I don't want to show you how to make something like 5 billion times. And, you know, sometimes you just got to skip through all the repetitive stuff, like, okay, make 8 of these, so I'm making one after another. When I do the tutorials, I usually just make one, show you how to make one, and then just repeat it. Well, so far so good. It looks like something that would bite you, huh? Looks like these just go in here like that. But that looks rather sloppy, but there we go. You know, really this looks more like a nice a display piece nonetheless, but for you know, so far for play value, there's really not. If you're buying this for a kid to play around with, like for your son or daughter or something, this is probably not going to keep their you know, their entertainment too much. Especially for someone like myself, I'm a full-grown adult putting this together, and you know, it is a change from what I usually put together. I usually do all the Minecraft stuff, but as far as retention-wise, I don't think a child would build this too often. I mean, they probably would build this a little bit and then go on to playing like Fortnite or something, play a Halo, if anybody still plays Halo, Call of Duty, that kind of thing. Did I put those in the right area? Yes, I did. Even my allergies have been kicking up. I think I'll just do one of these every day or something to kind of, well, I can't do this now. I mean, I gotta start doing work here soon, because I'll have clients starting to contact me, and I want to be there when they send messages and stuff. You know, that's the beauty of being a software engineer, and a downfall, but it's a very good career to get into. When I was a kid or a teenager, I thought, well, why would I want to become a computer nerd? You know, what's the point of it, right? And what am I doing? I started learning how to write programs and stuff when I was really young. And mind you, we didn't have Google and stuff in the 70s and 80s, so we had to use that big giant building usually you'd find in the city called the library, and there was just tons of books. We didn't have a search engine, so you actually had to go through the card catalog to pull everything up. And that's what you did. And we have a few extra pieces here, so what did I do wrong? I have an extra 2x2 plate, is that supposed to go somewhere? Alright, let's go ahead and backtrack here. That's the thing about troubleshooting. I did put that at the bottom. Right here. Oh! Okay, so actually I did kind of skip something here. So do I dare pull this apart? Let's see. Well, that came apart. We found a weak spot in here. Let's see if we can peel this back. That plate is supposed to go right there. So, well, I got lucky, kind of. Let's pop that off. Well, that's already coming apart. Obviously, this is not for the faint of heart. If you're not really into building small things like this, then this is probably not a build for you. It's obviously not for me anyways. You know, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather be building a camper or a big giant MOC than putting this together. But the thing with this is when I got into this program, I have to, when I get a set for review, I have to review it. So I can't just be like, oh, thank you for the free set, come again. No, I actually have to review these. I can't, you know, that's part of the gig. And put my thoughts in. So when you're building that one there, you're going to have to really watch it. Let's get this all situated. This is probably the fragile of the three that we built out of here so far. You can see that this just keeps falling off right here. It's just I've learned my lesson with round plates. They just don't stick very well. So when you get it together, make sure you don't touch that thing. So we're going to just kind of mush it all up. Let's get it to look good, because I got to make this presentable for a review, and trying to make it look not so sloppy. But honestly, for myself, would I ever buy this? Well, I don't know. I haven't finished it yet. So that's what it is. It's tilting. You can't tell from here, but there it is. And this one here, one of these is actually missing the little peg that goes in it. Oh, this one here, I forgot to put one of these in here. Alright, so so far this is what they want me to do, is put these together. And they're offset a bit. And when I do these, I always try to match the picture. So, alright, so this one goes right here. And so far so good. I think these are supposed to be tipped up a bit more. Because here it looks like that. Mine looks kind of squashed, so maybe I have to push these up a bit more here. See, it's starting to get pretty brittle. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably meant as a display piece. So we are missing something here. Jay, you're taking too long. Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's the yellow one I need to backtrack and look at, because it doesn't really honestly, this manual alone is kind of depressing to look at. Let's see here. Trying to find it here. They only show one of those going in there, so this one here's got two of them. Because they show all these together, so why would it not be like that? Unless I completely forgot something here. They don't show it here. There's nothing on this at all. Unless I really passed it up. So I really don't want to spend all the time going through this. But I'm just going to infer that this goes here. And this sits here. Sometimes I'll forget parts in manuals. So there we go. That's what it looks like right there. And here is the real life build. And so far, just this alone would look good on a desk, but I haven't built bags 2 and 3 yet. So, well, we'll save that for another video. Thanks for watching.